Thank you for clicking on this video, and today what I'm going to share with you is how to update your image in Flutter Web. And we are going to use this service that you may seem familiar to you guys. Well, we are going to use the Firebase Storage. So the most common case you want to update your image is usually your profile image. So this is what you'll be able to do at the end of this video. And having Firebase makes it easy to update your profile image. So for this tutorial, there is a worksheet project that you can fork or download and follow along. There is also the answer branch just in case you missed out anything. Also, don't mind giving it a star. So before we get started, there are some requirements for you to follow. First, we need to have a Firebase project. Make sure that you have one in your Firebase console. So in your Firebase project, make sure you have a web app created and head to the settings and copy the SDK and config of your project and paste it inside your index.html file. Also add in the Firebase storage and the Firebase SDK in it too, such as what you've seen so far. The next thing that you need to do is to have Firestore initialized in your Firebase project. And in the Firestore, you need to create a collection called users and add a document with an auto-generated ID with the fields name and photo URL. So we need all of these fields in this tutorial. So the third thing that we need to do is to have Firebase Storage initialized. Once you have done that, you have to go to the rules tab of the Firebase Storage and make sure your rules allow any reads and writes for this tutorial. By default, it will only read and write if the Firebase authentication is not null. And lastly, make sure you like and subscribe to this video. This will help more people to know more about this video and help in their Flutter Web journey. Now, here are the 4 steps in order for us to update our profile picture. So the first one is that we are going to load an image from the Firebase Storage. Second is we're going to upload the image from the Flutter Web. And third, we're going to upload the image to the Firebase Storage. And lastly, we're going to make any updates to the profile picture automatically. So let's get started with the first one. Let's load an image from the Firebase Storage. So let's go to our Flutter Web project. So if you were to run the profile picture Firebase Flutter Web project, it will look something like this. So inside the main.dart file, we need to first have the user data to be passed inside our project over here. That's why we have a stream provider that passes through a current user. Then if you see over here, there is this user stream function. So inside this user stream function, what you need to do is to replace this document ID into the current document ID that you have created inside your Firestore database. So now with that said, let's upload an image from the Firebase Storage manually. First, let's go to the Firebase console storage page. And then what you need to do is upload a simple image inside the Firebase Storage. So let's click on the picture that you have successfully uploaded, and we are going to click on this file location. If you were to see the storage location over here, we are going to make use of this URL or storage location for it to render inside our Flutter Web project. So let's go back to our VS Code, and if you were to scroll all the way up, you could see there is this profile picture widget. So instead of us using the icon, we want it to use something that can load an image from a URL. Then what we need to do is we are going to use this widget called image.network. So we can just duplicate it, and then we're going to comment this for now. We're going to remove this icon widget and we're going to type in image.network. And then for this image.network, we are going to just put this src over here. Then there's just a normal circle that's being rendered. So this is just a placeholder for now. The next step is for us to import the Firebase package. So if you were to scroll all the way up, we're going to type in the word import, and we're going to manually import the Firebase package. So the package will be named as package:/firebase/firebase.dart. And the thing is, we are going to use the prefix as FB. So why are we using a prefix rather than having an object in it? So for Firebase Storage, if you were to click inside Firebase Storage and then inside the storage.dart, there isn't any top level class that refers to the different functions and objects that is found inside the Firebase Storage.dart file. So you could say there is no Firebase Storage.instance yet. So let's exit this file. So once we are done importing, we are going to create a function that returns the image that we have created in the Firebase Storage. So let's scroll all the way down. We can type in the word fun and then we can just press tab to create a function definition in Dart. Then we're going to call it download URL. And with the download URL, there is no argument, so we can remove these arguments. And let's just leave the return type as void. And now inside the function body, we are going to call the Firebase Storage by typing FB, which refers to the Firebase library that we've imported. And then we're going to call the storage function. And this refers to the instance of the Firebase Storage. And then we're going to use this method called reference from URL. So this URL is, if we were to go back to the Firebase console, the URL that we need is actually this URL for our Firebase Storage. So you can click on this copy folder path and let's go back to our VS Code. And then we can just put in as a string and paste it as such. Now we have the location of our Firebase Storage. The next thing is that we are going to call the child. So this child refers to the storage reference of our image or whatever that we have uploaded. So if you were to go back to our Firebase console, and then if you were to click on your image, and then if you scroll all the way down, you could see this thing called file location. And then this file location has the storage location. So first of all, we have our reference URL, and second is our child path that we have. We can just copy the image name from here, or we can just copy it from here as well. Doesn't really matter. So you can close this window. Let's go back to our VS Code. And then for our path, we're going to create a string and we're going to paste it. And the last thing is we're going to use this method that's called getDownloadURL. So this getDownloadURL will return us a future URI. So URI stands for Uniform Resource Identifier, which is basically referring to a URL or URN. So anyway, with that, we now need to get the data from this future. So what we can do is we can just copy this type and then we can replace the word void into the type that is returning to. So then we will need to put in the word return as well. Okay, so now with this, we have the URL of our image that we uploaded earlier. So what we can do is we can copy this. Now, how do we then get the data from a future? So what we can do, if we were to scroll all the way up until the profile picture, we can actually make use of a future builder. So we can wrap this circle avatar with a future builder. So type in future builder, and then it requires a builder. So type in the builder over here, and then you can open the suggestion menu, and this will open up the different options for you to choose. We are going to choose with the arrow key over here, and then we are going to delete the child with the comma as such. And then at the same time, we can change this arrow or expression body into a block body as well. Now for the future builder, we require a future params. And for the future params, we already have copied the download URL. So we're going to paste it over here. Now inside this snapshot, we are going to return the snapshot data. So instead of src, what we're going to do is we're going to type in snapshot.data. And then at the same time, we are going to put a loader. So what we can do is we can copy this if statement, paste it over here, and instead of the conditional current user is equal to null, what we can do is we can put in the snapshot.connection state, which is equal to connection state that is waiting. So, and then at the same time, we can wrap this whole centered circular progress indicator with a curly brackets. And now if we were to save this, let's see how it looks like inside our Flutter Web over here. So now you can see it's expected a string value, but it got a type of URI. So for the data that we have here, what we can do is we can just copy this URI type and then we can paste it inside our future builder over here. Now you can see there's actually an error. So what we can do is we can use this .toString method. And now if we were to save this, you could see that our profile picture or our image has uploaded from our Firebase storage. Alright, so we are done with the first part. Alright, we have done with the first step, which is to load an image from the Firebase storage. The next thing is to upload an image from the Flutter Web. What I mean by upload image is that when you have an upload button and you click on it, it will have this folder selection that pops up, and this is what we want to expect when we click on an upload button, so that we can choose the image to be uploaded. Sadly, the only way to do this is to use this .html file library. So this is because we needed to use this thing called the HTML input element. So let's go to our VS Code and let's implement this. So alright, the first thing that we need to do is we need to import the .html library. So a little warning, this whole Flutter project can only be worked on inside the website platform. So now let's scroll all the way down, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a function that is called upload image. And for our arguments, we have nothing, and we're going to leave it as a void function. Now we are going to make use of the .html library and create this thing called input element. So this input element allows us to open up the file selector window. And this is where we are able to select any file that we need to be uploaded or manipulated. So we're going to name our input element as upload input. And then we are going to refer it to a file upload input element. So for our file upload input element, we are also going to set the accept property. So the accept property is where it will filter what kind of files that you're able to upload. So we are going to put in a string, and then we are only going to upload a specific image kind of file. And then at the same time, it's going to be selected to all. And then we are going to put a semicolon. So with our upload input variable, what we're going to do is we're going to click it. So this will help us open up the file selector. So once the file selector window is open, what we need to do is we need to listen on the different changes. So we're going to make use of the onChange stream, and we're going to listen to it. And then inside this listen method, we are going to create a variable called file. This will refer to the upload input files, and we are just going to refer to the first file that we have picked. So the second thing is we are going to create this thing called a file reader. Type in file reader, and what a file reader does is an object that lets a web application asynchronously read the contents of the file that is stored in the user's computer. So once we have created a file reader, what we want it to do is to read it as a data URL. So that means we are going to read the file that we selected as a URL that represents the file data as an encoded string. So we're going to change this blob into the file variable that we have selected. Once it finishes reading, then for our reader, we're going to listen to the onload n, and then we are going to make use of the listen method, and then we are just going to type in a print function that says done, and then we're going to just put in the semicolon as such. Now with our new upload image function, we can try it out. So copy the upload image function as such, and then let's scroll all the way up, and then you'll see this profile page widget, which represents what we have over here. So under our outline button on press method, what we can do is we can insert the upload image function inside it. So let's save this. And now if you were to click on the update profile picture, this will open up our file selector. And if you were to see properly inside my folder, my face, there is images file and there is video files. However, with the accept property that's specific to an image type, it will not let us select any video files or any non-image file. So once we choose an image to be selected and click open, let's open up the inspector inside our Flutter Web, and then let's go to the console. And then you could see that inside our console, there is the done that is printed out for us. So that means once we have finished selecting, then the onload end will get activated. Now that we have done with the uploading image from the Flutter Web, we are going to upload the image to the Firebase Storage. We stopped at when we select an image, then this should update the new image in our Firebase Storage. So that is what we are going to do. So let's go to VS Code. So we're going to create a function that is just below the upload image function. So this function is called upload to storage. And then inside the arguments, there isn't any arguments. And for the void, we're going to leave it as void. And inside the function body, so we're going to create a path for the file name that we're going to upload. So for simplicity's sake, we are going to use the date type now for the uniqueness of it. So we can type in final date time, and this will equal to the current date time dot now. And then at the same time, we also want to make use of the user ID for our path. So then we need an argument called current user. We will put in the variable name as user. And now we're going to create a new variable called user ID, and this will refer to the user.id or the user ID property. We're going to combine these two values into one string using string interpolation. So we're going to create another variable called path, and then what we're going to do is we're going to create an empty string, and then we're going to put in two money sign. So the first money sign, let's put in the user ID and then a backslash. So this first part of the string will refer to the folder name of the Firebase Storage. And then the second part of this string will be the name of the image. So we're going to put in the date time. And lastly, we're going to end it with a semicolon. So once we have the path, we will then be using the Firebase Storage instance with the reform URL. So if we were to scroll all the way up, we are going to make use of this fb.storage function with our reference over here and the child method. So let's copy all of this and let's scroll all the way down, and then let's paste it as such. So now we just need to swap the value inside our child method to our path variable that we have created. And now we're going to use this method called put. So put over here requires a blob, or you could say a file, to be uploaded inside our Firebase Storage. However, the file that we are able to get is not anywhere inside our widget, but inside our upload image function. How do we then transfer our file over here from our upload image function to our upload to storage function? So what we can do is that we can create a named parameter called onSelected. And onSelected will be a function that returns the file that we have selected. So we can type in the word file as well. And then in this onSelected parameters, what we can do is we can replace this print done with the onSelected function argument over here. And then inside this onSelected function, we need a file argument. So we can type in file, and then we're going to put a semicolon. So once it finishes reading, then the onSelected function will run with our file that we have selected. Then we are going to use this upload image function inside our upload to storage function. So let's copy upload image function name over here, scroll all the way down, and then right underneath the final path statement, we're going to paste the upload image function. And then we are going to put in the onSelected that is required. So inside our onSelected, let's use the file with the curly brackets, put in the semicolon, and then we are going to move this Firebase Storage.put method inside the upload image function. And then we are going to replace the word blob into the word file. So once the upload image has finished selected, then we will upload it in our Firebase Storage using this method. And then we can just put a semicolon. So now let's save this. With this upload to storage function, let's copy the name. And then let's scroll all the way up, and then you could see the upload image requires an onSelected. We are not going to use this, but we're going to use the upload storage function that we've created. And inside the upload to storage, we are required one positional argument, which is the current user. So inside this profile page, we already have a current user. So let's copy this private variable, paste it inside the brackets, and let's add in a semicolon as well. So now if we were to save this, and let's try to upload a different picture, maybe this one. And then let's see inside our Firebase console whether it is successful. So inside our Firebase console, you could see there should be a new folder that has been created for you. Click on it, and then you could see there is the image that has the date time that has been transformed into a string, and you click on it. This should be your new uploaded image over here. Alright, now that we have done with uploading the image to the Firebase storage, we are now left with updating the profile picture automatically. So to do that, we need to update a user property that we have. Can you guess what it is? If you remember, it is the photo URL. So this is just an example of an image that we uploaded with the URL 1. Once we have selected an image, we can update the photo URL from 1 to 2 using the Firestore. Then with the new photo URL, this will change from this image to the updated image. So let's do that in our VS Code. So let's scroll all the way down, and then inside our upload to storage function, what we need to do is after we have uploaded our image inside our Firebase storage, we are going to update our user document. Let's type in Firebase Firestore.instance, and then we're going to call the specific collection, which is the users collection, and then we're going to get the specific document. And since we have the user or current user object, then we can call the specific ID. And lastly, we're going to use the update method, which needs a map data. So our field that we want to update, which is the photo underscore URL. And then for this key, we're going to put in the new path that we have created so far. And then let's put in a semicolon. So now we have created a Firestore update method for our photo URL. However, there is one problem that I faced when doing this. So there is a race condition over here. So sometimes the Firebase Firestore will get updated before the image has been updated. So what we need to do is that we want this Firestore function to run after this Firebase storage put method finishes. So there is this getter method called the future. And this future, if you guys have known, have this then method. So this then method signifies that once it's successful, then run the next function inside this function over here. So we don't need the value, so we can just put this as a placeholder, and then let's convert this expression body into a block body, and then we are not returning null or returning anything. What we want is for our Firestore to just be running after the Firebase storage function. So now let's save this. So now we have created this excellent function. Let's try to see if it works. Now we're going to update our profile picture, and let's put in this picture. Alright, nothing happens. Why is that so? So inside our Firestore, you can see that our photo URL has been updated, as well as inside our Firebase storage, you can see that we have added a new updated image. However, inside our Flutter Web, it doesn't get updated. Why is that so? Well, if we were to scroll all the way up, you could see that under our profile picture widget, we are using a future builder. It does not get updated live with any changes inside the Firestore database because it's only being called once. So what we need to do is we need to change this future builder into a stream builder. So we can just highlight the word future and type in stream. And then at the same time, we are going to replace this future to be a stream parameter. So the thing is, the download URL is a future. So how do we convert it into a stream? So what we can do is we can use this method called as a stream. So the result of the future that we have will become a stream. And then with any changes in Firestore, then it will get updated as such. So inside our download URL function, you can see that our image path over here is actually hard coded. So what we need to do is we need to pass in a photo URL argument. So we can type in the type string and type in photo URL, and then we can just replace the mypic.png into the photo URL. So inside our download URL now requires the argument. So the argument over here is the underscore current user, and then for the underscore current user we have a photo URL property. Now at the same time, once it finishes loading, alright, so now let's save this and see if it works. And now you could see our new image has uploaded nicely over here. Now if you were to click on the update profile picture and put in another face of mine, maybe this one, and let's see if it uploads nicely. Alright, so now it has uploaded automatically inside our Flutter Web project. So in summary, we learned how to load an image from Firebase Storage. We also learned how to upload an image from Flutter Web using input element using the Dart HTML library. We also learned how to upload an image to the Firebase Storage. And lastly, so we will know how to render the profile picture automatically when there is a new profile picture being uploaded. That's about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want more of this video, subscribe down below. And comment down on what other thing you want me to do next. So that's it. Stay safe and all the best. Bye bye.